Hey, what's up everybody? So I am here in Scottsdale, Arizona this week, and we're running our entire production from out here. As you guys know, I do a lot of live streaming. I do a lot of video recording and editing while I'm on the road as a content creator. It's something that's really important. And I've created my own mobile setup. And so what I thought I'd do today is walk you through that setup, show you how it all works and how I've set it up, give you links to all the gear that I've got in case you find something that you might want to purchase for yourself. And then also to show you my actually how I get the broadcast out using a product called Ecamm Live. So let's take a look. All right, so this is my little mobile setup here. And as you can see, really clean. One of the things I wanted to do with this when I built it was I didn't want a bunch of cables going everywhere. If you've ever tried to set up something like this, you know that there's wires and cables and stuff just running everywhere. And I didn't want that with this setup. I wanted something clean that didn't have all of that and didn't require a ton of setup and breakdown time. And so first and foremost, it's just the microphone. This is a Shure SM7 microphone. This is a USB mic that I absolutely love. I do all my voiceover stuff with this when I'm back in the studio, and when I'm doing stuff mobily, I take this with me, and it cuts down on the need for like XLR cables and adapters and have mixers and stuff like that. I don't need any of that with this setup, and so a simple USB mic works great, and this gives me really great sound. As you guys know, I really love the SM7B. Is my favorite studio microphone, and this is a close second. And for USB mic, it's pretty doggone good. That's attached to just a simple desktop tripod mount that has got a ball head on it so I can adjust everything the way I want it. And this will go up pretty high. I can also use this for a camera stand or a light stand as well if I'm in a place where I don't have a lot of space, but I've got a coffee table or something. So that works really well too. Moving to the right here, this is the Stream Deck. We use this with Ecamm Live, our software for doing camera switching, so that I can go from my heads-up shot of me to the guest to a side-by-side shot. I can show screen share as well as play audio and video files with just the touch of a button using this program. And I'll show you how this works in just a little bit. Moving over here, this is my iPad. I use this while I'm doing the show or while I'm live streaming to look up stuff on the internets or to just use as a second monitor some days. Moving around here, next thing I'll show you is the light. This light is on a cheap, I don't know, $10 tripod stand or something. But these are the Falcon Eyes, one word. And these are the SO28Ts. These are really, really great LED lights, because unlike other LED lights that you'll buy that have like the LEDs all across the front and don't have a lot of diffusion on them, these are, not only do they have a little diffusion on the front of them, but the lights actually point down in a ring around the bottom, which creates a really nice soft light. And these particular lights are color temperature controlled. So I can actually create different color temperatures out of this light if I need to. So I can go from, I think 3200 Kelvin to like, I don't know what it is, 5600 or something. And as you can see, I had it set today at about 20% brightness, and that worked great for this room. So it doesn't require, it has an immense amount of power for the, for as low a footprint as it is. And it all runs off a Sony MPF batteries. So these are, if you're into video production at all, you know these are very popular batteries. They're super cheap. And there's a company called Newer that makes these batteries that have really cheap versions of it that are excellent. So I'll link to those in the description as well. Now moving over here, and actually let me just get this light out of the way for right now so we can really take a look at this thing, because this is really where the magic happens. So one of the things that, if you've got a nice camera setup, is you've got to be able to get video signal from the camera into the computer, and there's a lot of stuff that has to happen in order for you to do that. The first thing I want you to know about this is that this entire system, you just pull this cell phone off of here for now so I don't crash it on the ground. This entire system is completely mobile. So it all is self-contained, power and everything, and I can pick this up and literally take it anywhere I want to. So That helps a lot with if you have to set the camera a little further away from your computer, that you don't have long cables running there. It means that you don't have to worry about where you get your power supply from, so you can make sure you run everything. It is super convenient. And I've seen some use cases where people will actually use this as a secondary camera that they might be broadcasting from outside, or from up to inside. You only get about 200 feet, but outside you can get up to 300 to 400 feet off of this little remote video signal box, which I'll talk about in just a second. But first and foremost, the camera itself is a Sony a6400 with a Sigma 16mm lens that gives us kind of a wider angle lens, which gives me the ability to do some crop ins and stuff like that. That just really helps me get a better shot. And it also allows me to move the camera a lot closer to me, which is helpful for me because I use this DeciView teleprompter, which is what this is, just a piece of glass in here. I use this to project an image up onto the screen of who I'm talking to. So like if Matt and I are doing the podcast, I see a picture of me and Matt and what camera we're using at that time. So it helps me keep track of, okay, what is the audience seeing? Because whatever I see projected up here against this glass is what the audience is seeing as we're streaming live. Now, moving over here, this entire rig is powered off of, these are V-mount batteries or D-tap batteries. They're pretty incredible. They're extremely powerful. They pack a massive amount of juice in them, and you can run a whole bunch of stuff off of them. So I've been running this, there's probably 2 hours of use that I've used this, 2 to 3 hours worth of use out of these batteries, and I've barely come off of the first bar. They just have, I could easily run this entire setup for a solid straight 8 hours without shutting it off and wouldn't have any issues with it. And I've mounted this battery to the camera system using a rail, using the camera to the camera with this rail system here. This is not expensive either. I think maybe 50 bucks for everything. And then that connects to this base plate. And the nice thing about the base plate is when the battery goes in there, so the battery just kind of gets plugged in there and then hooks up in there, you can see on the left-hand side here, I have different plugins. So here's the 5 volt, and then you've got an 8 volt, which is what the camera is plugged into. And then I've got 2 other taps for a 12 volt or a 15 volt out. And then on the other side here, we have 2 USB mounts, 2 USB plugs as well. And one of those is going into the wireless transmitter. And the other one here is powering a cell phone, which is what I'm using as an external monitor to project up onto the screen what everybody's seeing as I do the live stream. So that's pretty cool. Now, in order to get this signal, as I said, from here into the computer, several things have to happen. If I wasn't using a wireless system, I would have to run a cable from the camera out into the computer, which I didn't want to do. And so I purchased this, which is the MeraPro's, it's called the MAR 300 Pro. So this is, if you type in MAR 300 Pro, link in the description, this is fantastic. I didn't think this would work as well as it did. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it sends a wireless video signal. So if you see here, I'm coming out of here, USB, and going into the USB over here. And then what that does is it sends a signal to this little receiver over here. And I'm powering this receiver with another MPF battery, super simple. And this is we get the HDMI out of here, and we run that into a converter box, which is a Magwell is the one that I use. There's lots of different HDMI converters out there. This one works with everything, and it's more expensive, but it works with everything. And so the HDMI signal comes in here. They convert that signal for the computer, and then HDMI 3 out into the computer here, just using a little like dongle adapter deal. Okay, and that's how I get the video signal in. So again, if I wanted to move the camera around, if I needed to adjust things, I don't have to worry about like a whole bunch of stuff just hanging around and messing with me, so causing me problems. Which, if you'd seen my setup before, it was just cables everywhere running, all stuff's dangling between the desk and the camera system, and it's just a gigantic mess. This is a really pared down and much cleaner version. And just to kind of explain, I love Velcro, by the way. So this is what I did here is I just laid a strip of Velcro across the back of here, and then these are attached to the back of the computer with Velcro. And it's brilliant, it works. When I saw somebody do that for the first time, I said, that's the most ingenious thing I'd ever seen. And it's been great. So anyway, that's the full setup. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the software that I use and how we incorporate the software into the switcher so that we can stream live and have a really professional video production from anywhere on earth. All right, so here is the setup. As I said before, you can see this is the Ecamm Live Studio, and I'm gonna walk you through how I use this in just a second and all the different things that you can do with it. But you can see this is the image that's going out to my audience when I do a live stream. And if I look up at my teleprompter, what you'll see is that you can see that image being projected up there. I've got an output that's basically set up to output to that cell phone that's sitting up there. This is just an old cell phone that I had from when I upgraded. I never got rid of it, and it works excellent as this external monitor. Now, how am I getting that signal? Because again, this is a wireless signal. It's going from this computer to that monitor up there, that cell phone. How do I do that? Well, I do that with a product called Duet. And Duet, this is something you have to pay for, but Duet is a software that you install on your computer, and then they have a version called Duet Air. And Duet Air is something you install on your cell phone or iPad that will send a wireless signal over your internet connection from the desktop or your laptop computer to that cell phone as an extra monitor. Now, it does not work very well. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It's very glitchy. It's not optimal. It would be much better to have an actual hardline wired connection going there. And if you can do that, by all means. My goal is to make this completely wireless. And frankly, it can be a little glitchy. The signal doesn't have to be perfect because all I'm doing is using this as a way to keep track of what my audience is seeing as I'm doing the live stream and to engage better with my guest or my co-hosts that I've got on the show. Now, if you look down here at our stream deck, you'll see that I've got a couple of different cameras here. I've got camera 2, a split screen camera, camera 1, and if I change back and forth between these by hitting these buttons, what you'll see is, okay, well there's one. I can go to my screen share. That's my screen share. I can go back to this one. I don't have it set up for dual, but if I do, I can go like this and go, okay, let's add guest 1 here. Okay, so I can add guest 1. That's the side-by-side. I can go with another camera option there off of my computer, or I can do screen share mode. And all of that is done just by clicking on these buttons. I've also got a little overlay in here, which I can use. So if I go back to Ecamm Live and I hit that overlay, you'll see that puts up the overlay. So every day when I do the show and I want to drop the overlay, I just hit that button and off it comes. I also play my intro and outro music here. So when we start the show, I just click this button, it plays the intro music. And then when I'm done, I click that button, it plays the outro. And then over here on the right, I've got mute and unmute. And that just helps me to keep track of my microphone and make sure that I'm not broadcasting when I don't want to. So that's pretty cool. It's all set up, all self-contained, and now let's go ahead and jump into the application here into Ecamm Live, and I'll show you some of the cool stuff that can do. All right, so what I love so much about Ecamm Live is the fact that I get so much versatility. One of the things I told you is I don't like having to bring entire mixing boards with me and sound effects and all of that stuff. Some of you probably own the Rode Procaster, which is, I used to own one. It was a great piece of gear, absolutely loved it, but I don't need that for my production because most of the time it's me connecting with Matt or with another guest virtually. I don't have 4 or 5 guys sitting around a room who are all chatting with each other. So it isn't a tool that I use, and it's very big and very clunky to kind of haul around the world with you if you're traveling a lot. This software fixes that. It takes everything and puts it all on software rather than hardware. And you can do some pretty amazing things with it. So for example, if I want to throw the overlay on as I said before, I have the overlays that I can throw on here, and then I can do other things. Like I can come here and I can say, let's add a countdown clock to this as well. And hang on, what's this doing? Let's make the countdown clock 10 minutes. That's fine, and we'll just add that to here. And you can see it shows on the current screen. There it is right there. We just got to get it. Let's move it up so it's on top. Okay. Then I can make this as big or as small as I want to. So just make it really big. Put it right there. Let everybody know when we're going to start the live stream. And that counts down, and that'll let everybody know how much longer before we start. I do this a lot with live trainings that I do for marketing or communication. Is we'll put this up so that everybody who arrives at the live stream early knows how long they have before we start. Because as you guys know, international clientele, some people, they're all different parts of the world, and it's helpful to kind of have something like that for you. I can also create any other overlay that I want to. So by creating a text overlay, I can put show title here, and I can add that to the mix. Again, we're just going to drag it up here to the top of the scene. And so then if I want to, I can also add the show title for today's show. Now, I don't normally do this, but I certainly could if I wanted to let everybody know, here's what today's show is, here's the countdown to when we start, and the title of the show and all that. So that's really nice too. I can add video overlays if I want to. So let's say that I wanted to add a little video overlay. So let's go ahead and bring this up as well. And let's grab, where'd it go? There it is. Let's drag this up here. Okay. If I want to, this allows me to layer in a lot of different video and audio. So if I wanted to create something where maybe I wanted a nice background, you all see those kind of nice setups where you've got the side-by-side with kind of a custom-built frame around it. That's super easy to do inside of this program. I can lock each one of these if I want to make sure that you can't move it around and can't mess with it. That way I don't screw up all the hard work that I've done building something like this out. I can also create as many different scenes as I want to. So I can create any combination of video and background in here using this software to kind of using overlays and inside the software. What else can this thing do? Bring in guests. So I can bring up to 4 guests at one time. That's how Matt joins me for the show every day. And that's just simply using a little link down here to tell everybody where to go. And then I have all kinds of audio in here as well. So I have a little mixing board. So I have Shure SM7. I have a movie right here. So if I'm playing a video inside of here, which is another thing that I can do, I can play the movie audio separate. I play the sound effects that come out of the audio differently. And this is also going to capture my computer audio if I want it to. And then, of course, my interviewers, any of my interview audio gets captured here as well. I can easily add another source. So let's say I've got a couple of different USB microphones plugged in here, or I want to get audio coming out of a camera. I can do all of that in here too. It's one of the most versatile pieces of equipment that I've ever owned. And then down here in the bottom left, you'll see comments and reactions. So when I go live, whether it's to Facebook or to YouTube or Twitter, well, not really Twitter, but any of those streaming platforms, all of my chat comments will come through here so that I can see them. I don't have to be logged into those platforms in order to see and engage with the people that are communicating with me. So again, this is how we go live. We use a program called Restream to stream out to multiple platforms at the same time, but I could easily go to another one. Switchboard Live is another Restream style app, or I can go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, or, and this is what's really cool, any custom RTMP stream feed that I want to. So any place that will allow me to send an RTMP stream to, I can use this application for. And I got to tell you guys, this used to be stuff, if I had bought this 5 years ago when I started my podcast and we built out that really huge expensive studio, this would have cost me a minimum. Well, you couldn't get all of this in there, but let's say that you could. The closest thing that you could get was a TriCaster. It would have been $5,000 to $10,000 to get something comparable to this that didn't do all of this. I think I pay $10 a month for this to have a subscription to this application. It's a game changer. I can use my output on the camera here. I can use the output of this image and I can turn it into a webcam. I can use it as an NDI camera, so I can send it other places, and I can use it as and I can set a mic delay too. So for example, because I'm using a wireless system, it has a little bit longer of a video delay than the audio, and so I can delay the audio so the audio and the video are constantly in sync. So this is the setup. This is the setup I use, and it all fits into a what do you call it? One of these cases, the big Pelican cases that I can take with me anywhere in the world, and it's been a game changer. So I hope that kind of helps you understand better how I run my mobile setup and how we run the show and the live streams and record videos. If you got any questions, please let me know in the comments. And then also you'll find in there as well a link to all of the gear that I use. I think I created like an Amazon little link that takes you to a mini store where you can check it all out. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't cost you anymore, but I'm pretty sure I get a piece of whatever you buy. Not sure, but better to let you know than to, think I'm trying to get over on anybody. So hope that's helpful. Thanks so much. See you soon.